I'm Kim Jackson. I work for Princeton University as the Director of Parking and Transportation Services. I also have the fortune to be the chair of the International Parking Institute. So my day-to-day role sometimes is all about putting out fires. On a university campus, we have lots of people vying for parking spaces, so it's not just the faculty and staff and students, it's the visitors, it's the alumni, it's the potential students, it's the people in town, because Princeton University is right next to downtown Princeton. So a lot of it is trying to make sure that the people who need to park have the ability to park and then have a way to get around campus. We are trying to be a more sustainable campus. So we consider ourselves a walking campus, even though parts of it are uphill. So we have a transit system that helps us move people around. We now have a Zagster bike share system. So that's the other way we're trying to get people out of their cars and move around campus a little differently. At Princeton, we are not following the smart city trends right now. We are in the middle and toward the end of what we're calling a 30-year campus planning framework. And we're looking at a 10-year period within that framework. And so we are just starting to touch on smart cities, smart technology, what is the future of parking, and how should we plan not just for that 10-year segment, but where we think we'll be in 30 years. Personally, I would define a smart city as one where people are living in an urban area, an urban environment. They are using shared resources, be it cars, be it bikes. They have the ability to walk, they have the ability to shop where they need to shop. Their work locations are relatively close to their living area. It's all about that balance between work, life, how to get around, how not to continue to use vehicles the way we currently do. I think the role for parking in smart cities in the future is it's a subset. So I think we'll no longer be talking about parking, we'll be talking about mobility. And this morning, the International Parking Institute started talking about the International Mobility Institute, where parking is a subset. So parking, transportation, figuring out that last mile are all going to be a component of this, but parking won't be its standalone component. Parking might not be just about that space between the two lines for one vehicle, but that space between two lines for shared vehicles. How we use parking garages now might not be how we use them in the future. And I think this is an evolutionary process, and we're just going to have to see where we end up in this. Automated vehicles, which I know are coming. I think they're 10 to 15 years out of gaining popularity, but everybody's in the market, everybody's trying to come up with that smart car. I think connected vehicles, connected technology is a wave of the future, especially for parking, because I think cars will need to talk to facilities, facilities to cars, so it's going to be that two-way communication. I also think it's about shared resources, so whether it's the Zip car or enterprise car share system where, we're no longer owning an automobile, but we're sharing an automobile. I think those are things that are part of that future. It's not too distant. I'm thinking now about a 10-year time frame for some of these things to really gain momentum and take hold. First, I will say parking is not going away. There are people like me who are totally dependent on our cars because when we grew up, that's what we did. We got a license, we got a car. It was a thing to have a car. I understand that the younger generation today is not the same as we are, but again, there are so many of us who are still in the mindset of having our car, not quite sure how sharing technology will work. We're just really using Uber and things like that. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll still have lots of cars parking. And to be honest, I don't think parking will ever go away. No matter what we do, even with automated vehicles, let's say they're electric, we'll need to store them somewhere at some point. So they will have to stop and park, store, stage, energize themselves. So we'll still have parking, but we may not have the vast amount of parking that we have, and it may look different than what we have today.